Hi, this is the second version of the Fill in the Blank podcast. I'm fortunate enough to have America's Uncle Charlie, Charlie Bebus, on the line with me. Charlie is the guy that came up with the idea of Deplorapalooza. Charlie, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell folks what you would like to share about yourself and a little bit about how Deplorapalooza came to be.
Well, not to brag up on myself too much, but I'm America's favorite Uncle Charlie.
Sorry,
So I just wanted
favorite,
to
America's
put that on
favorite Uncle
there.
Charlie. Sorry about
And
that.
yes, that's 100% self-proclaimed. Um,
Do you have nieces or
Deplor-
nephews?
so I have tons of them.
That's why you're the favorite, huh? Are you the guy that brings all the weapons of mass destruction for the boys and all the good stuff for the girls?
I'm the one that they get to talk to the Uncle Charlie and pull my finger and get some jokes out of it. So,
That was
I'm
my
that guy
dad.
at the Christmas party.
That was my dad.
Yeah. So, no, I enjoy it. I got that. I got started getting called that in one of the Twitter rooms from some younger kids in the audience, and they were talking about going on Tinder dates and blind dates and stuff like that. And I just said I would always say to them, "Be careful, please." And
Right.
they started saying thanks, Uncle Charlie, and then one of them said, "Well," someone kind of sassed up, and another one said, "Well, that's America's favorite Uncle Charlie you're talking to." And that just kind of stuck from there. So it's just kind of a fun moniker. But getting to Deplorapalooza, one of the things I wanted to do for 2020 is be more vocal, be more out there, so I can help, so I can have more of an impact other than just my vote. And as I started learning about the community in Twitter that's supporting Donald Trump, I realized, these are some really cool people. They got really good, interesting thoughts and opinions, and I just was wondering, if we could get together and share our ideas. And I quickly realized that there is a lot of pent up demand for that social connecting and being in person around like minded folks and sharing our thoughts and experiences and seeing how we can all have a greater impact. So what started out as getting 5 or 6 Twitter buddies together in Las Vegas turned into having an event with Terrence Williams, the Deplorable Choir, and Juanito Broderick, and Janie Johnson, and Mindy Robinson, Minnie AOC, and 400 of our
Closest MAGA
like-minded,
friends. MAGA friends.
right, all of our MAGA friends. I mean, and it would have, certainly would have been much more. I think, just like a lot of us, we weren't realizing the full downturn with this hysteria hoax that's going around, and
Right.
that certainly impacted us. I would say by 30 or 40% of the attendance, but overall we had just a fantastic attendance.
So just to clarify, just to clarify that for people, there were almost 400 people there at the 400 unique people there at the two events, one Thursday night, one Friday night, and that was after a whole bunch of people canceled, as well as some of the people who were supposed to be either speaking or performing, right?
That's right. So we had to pivot because we made a promise to Trump International Hotel, and we booked a certain amount of rooms, and we had people dropping left and right that Wednesday and Thursday, and just about everybody that canceled that was going to stay at the hotel, we had someone flying in last minute. So overall, the event was tremendously successful. We had some more bandwidth. At the VIP at the Trump Hotel, we were beyond capacity. So it got to the point where towards the end of the night, people were just finding out about it and asking to come join. And so we went over what we projected by about 40 people.
Right.
But at the main event, where we could have had 1,200 people, we did see a noticeable downturn in that attendance. But like Mark, you and I were talking, for months, and we always said that if we can get 300 plus, man, that's huge for our first.
Well, I remember we first started out at 150. And then all of a sudden that number became 300. You're talking to two salespeople here, folks who are watching this or listening to it. So we have a tendency to be optimistic. You have to be.
That's right. And but I think the biggest takeaway from the whole event is, well, one is I truly believe that we over delivered on our promises. It wasn't. We certainly had our back office snafus that we corrected right away. Someone not finding their table right away or something like that. We had small little problems that we were able to correct right away. But the biggest takeaway is, I would say 99.9% left there not only after having a great time, but learned something about how they can be more active for MAGA in 2020 and help them get Donald Trump reelected. And that was our main goal.
Yeah, and that was the point I made, that there's all kinds of ways to get involved. I believe we've got 2,500 Republican candidates for House and Senate races, both state and federal, that are new candidates, people who have not been in politics before as a candidate. And I don't see why it couldn't be more than that. I don't see why it couldn't be 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000. And it still bothers me. I saw this week that I believe it's in Alabama. There's actually, there's going to be a runoff between Tommy Tuberville and Jeff Sessions. And there's a couple of other runoffs there, but there is one district where there is no Republican candidate. Now, I understand that may be a district that's 80-85% Democrat from history, but the fact that we didn't have a candidate or someone didn't step up to force that candidate to spend money and put themselves out there, I mean, it was just a walkover. So that kind of bothered me. So I think people need to get involved, and they can get involved. And you don't have to be any kind of a superstar or celebrity. I think we've been taught that by the political class, career politicians, that you've got to have some special experience. I look at what Donald Trump has done with no political experience, holding no political office before, and I'm thinking it might be better to have candidates without any political experience than those with political experience. I don't know how you feel about that, but it's just it's amazing to me what's gotten done, especially with all of the, he's dragging anchor, so to speak, with the Democrats constantly on him.
That's right. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. The more amateurs that can get in and run a campaign and generate the support, but also when you this is not to be funny. One of the things about the economy being so strong and people being really financially successful under Donald Trump, and of course people that started out with a lot of money are going to make even more money, but people that are middle class are now upper middle class. There's just a lot more money, and with that, they can start contributing more to candidates.
Correct.
So and the super PACs and things like that. So when you're going up against a one-term congresswoman like in my district here, CD2 in Minnesota, Andy Craig's starting with a war chest of $3 million. Well, why? Why would you? That we're not a big district, and so where's that money coming from? Well, it's coming from all over the country because people have disposable money that they can give to their favorite party, and when you are a random person that doesn't have name recognition, doesn't have funding behind you, that can be tough. So I think one of the things that you're doing, for instance, with your social media strategies, and I mean, you're just taking it all in, and you're asking more questions than you're giving, but you're learning how to navigate this process. At the same time, you're using what you learned to, like for me, I can just be for 5-6 months now. You've been mentoring me on the various platforms, what to do, what to talk about, and what issues matter most. We float ideas off of each other. What's going to help the greater good for our cause? But so the things that someone like yourself that's entering into the fray, but you're doing it with sweat equity. You're doing all
Right.
the hard work.
Right.
So if you're going to do it, if you don't have name recognition, you don't have money, well, I would love to find out that you are willing to put in the sweat equity. And there's a candidate here in Minnesota, which I know you've talked to her many times,
Erica
Erica
Cashin.
Cashin.
Yep.
She does not have the money.
Yeah.
She does
I'll
not
make
have the
sure
name
I'll make
recognition.
sure that on this video her website is up there, and I'll get it in the notes on YouTube. People really need to consider contributing to her. She's a retired military. She was career military. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's sharp. She's practical. She supports the Trump agenda. And one of the things that I have found really interesting is there are a lot of people out there that don't realize that you can donate to a political campaign in Minnesota from anywhere in the United States. You don't have to be in her state. You don't have to be in her district. I think there are still people out there that are concerned that that would be some kind of an illegal contribution. It's not. And I've contributed to, I'm going to say 30 or 40 candidates. Every time I find a candidate that I kind of like, I send them $50 or $100. I'm able to do that. And I've been doing it for about a year. And I think if everybody who saw a candidate liked them, gave up a Starbucks a week and sent them $5, it's easy. You've done it. I've done it. It's like going to Amazon, except your $5 gets you a lot more than you could get with $5 on Amazon.
It really does. And one of the things is it's not a joke when you talk about the grassroots movement. People think, well, what's $5 going to do? I can tell you one thing that does for sure. It motivates our candidates that don't have the
Absolutely.
money, that don't have the resources. When they see the $5 donation from John Smith, with a note saying, "Go get him,"
In Pocatello,
you just
Idaho,
inspire, you
right?
just inspired and motivated someone that's going to be serving on our beliefs behalf. So if you are pro-life, which I am, I'm a practicing Catholic. I'm pro-life. I don't think anybody that disagrees with me is necessarily evil, but I will support pro-life candidates.
Right.
Now I may support someone that's not pro-life. I personally don't see how I would, because that's just a core belief that I am. But so when pro-life candidates have a chance to turn a district that has someone like my current Congresswoman Angie Craig, who I think would support abortions up to the point of birth. I know she voted for that. I'm going to defend that. Now, when someone reaches out to me from California, and of course because of our operations with Deplorapalooza, people are reaching out to us from all across the country. But I'm a retired military guy, so yes, I'm very, very fortunate to live in America. I'm fortunate to have served my country, and now I'm fortunate enough to have a pension. So I do have a little bit of disposable income where I can send $10, $20 to
Right.
candidates in Florida that support my values, candidates in California, and there's several Republicans vying for certain seats. And you know what? I'll send them $5, $10 if they reach out and ask, or if I see something I like, especially if they get my attention somehow on Twitter. A prime example is when you see candidates that are running and they're retweeting us. Not
Right.
necessarily me, but I'll see a candidate retweet you, Mark, and I'm like, oh, that person's interesting. I'm going to go check out their profile.
Right.
Because obviously they're being engaged with the whole movement, and that encourages me. Like, holy cow, I want to support this person too, because they're not just looking out for themselves.
Right.
And that's
So
what we're going to need, especially as we have all these women and we have all these veterans on the Republican side running. They don't have the name recognition, and of course you're going to have a couple superstars break out for whatever reason, and they're going to run to the front of the pack. But we can't forget these other people that will be just as aggressive supporting our agenda, and we
right.
can't leave them behind.
I mean, they're part of the machinery that makes the MAGA agenda work. So
Right.
I've got two things I want to comment on based on what you just said. The first is that supporting and following and retweeting and commenting on candidates who are running on their social media is important. if you look at most candidates, their social media followers are fairly low. I'm at, I don't know, 67,000 followers, and that's a lot for most candidates. And I'm working it full time, 7 days a week, as you know, because I was fortunate enough to sell my business. I still have a piece of it, but I've got a lot of free time freed up to do this, to put in the sweat equity. Folks out there need to support those candidates and be doing it without asking much, if anything, in return. And what I mean by that is that I see people like, well, that candidate didn't follow me back in 24 hours, so I unfollowed them. That's not smart, okay? That's being selfish. That candidate might be doing fundraising, which I visited with a PAC in Washington not long ago, and they basically said, we'd expect you, if we're going to support you, to do a minimum of 30 hours a week of fundraising only, which means being on the phone or doing fundraisers, 30 hours a week. And they said, we'd prefer 60. Okay? So these candidates, if they're following that recipe, do not have as much time as you might if you're able to tweet a lot. So you got to help them out and get behind them. I kind of look at it as a very binary situation. You're either running or you're supporting people who are running, period. And I may take some heat for that, but I don't really care because I think it's the right thing to do. Now, let's talk a little bit about future Deplorapalooza events.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big Republican elephant in the room, right? So after talking to my main sponsor, you, and my partner Rachel, there's been, I respect people's opinions on what we should do during this hysteria that's just rolling all over our country. We experienced it firsthand. It affected us personally. It could have affected us,
and that was a few weeks ago,
than it did.
right?
That was a few weeks
a week and
ago,
a half
right?
ago.
We had dozens of people cancel the hotel, which I was on the hook for, right? So I'm not complaining about that. That's fine. People that say that we were out to do this event, first of all, I got to get this out there, that it's like some sort of huge profit-making machine is the furthest thing from the truth.
It was
we did this for the cause.
I know this for a fact. It was a 5-digit loss for you.
That's right.
Correct?
And you are very correct. And I made a conscious decision to do this, knowing that I'm doing it for the cause. Yes, would I have liked to have had a little stronger attendance at the main event and gotten a little smarter on the things that we paid for that we didn't necessarily need? Of course, those are all lessons learned, so we can keep doing these going on in the future. But the main point was to get as many people as we can, have a great time, send them off to their various locations around the world, to get people from around the world, Germany, Canada, Mexico, supporting the MAGA movement. And we got slowed down by the coronavirus, but we adapted and we overcame that. And I think we left it even stronger. So now what we talked about was if we can get it close to breaking even. We knew we weren't going to break even because there's just an impossibility because that's not what we were trying to do. So we weren't trying to penny pinch every little thing or stuff like that. But I think we're close enough where we really got something cool going. And like I said, this party is about thanking all Donald Trump supporters that have been beat up for the last 3.5 years. And as many people we can personally shake their hands, give them a hug, have a drink with them, tell them that there are people just like them out there. Everyone's, we appreciate it. So
put a face with a Twitter handle.
What's that?
Put a face with a Twitter handle. That was good.
Like, holy cow, that's you. Like, holy cow, that's you love following these people, and all of a sudden you could have a cocktail with them. So we've decided that we're not going to let this virus slow us down. Our next event was always going to be June 12th to the 14th. We talked about it just in our private group because we didn't want to overly extend ourselves until we knew this is, people really enjoy this. They had a
And
good time.
the significance of those dates?
So June 14th is Flag Day. It's the Army's birthday, and it's the best president we've ever had, the greatest president we've ever had, Donald J. Trump's birthday. So what better way to celebrate America, its people, and Donald Trump, who doesn't get enough, does not get hardly any credit for all the successes that he's done. We're going to get to celebrate all that. So yeah, we have to, just like the last party in Las Vegas. We're starting with the Shell. We got tickets on sale now. As we decide who's going to be invited for the lineup, we'll be adding those names. Of course, we're talking with the Deplorable Choir. We're talking with Juanita Broderick. We're inviting back those that really support our last one. First of all of our speakers were great. All really supportive. But
even me?
Super good, so. You're the best.
You are a salesman.
Not only did you give a great speech, but you helped pay for the whole party. So
yeah. That's probably the only reason I was allowed to speak.
Yeah, right. We reached out to you on the first. You've been with us since almost day one. So
I bought the first tickets online, right?
That's right. And
yeah.
Rachel, you followed Rachel first, and she reached out to you, and
yep.
And so you've been with us, and I can't even tell you how many countless hours. You and I have been bantering back and forth to make this event successful. So you've just been a huge help. So one of the things we are going to San Antonio now. Nothing's going to stop us. So we're going to be doing this party. So there's been some chaff on Twitter and stuff like that saying that, what about the coronavirus? Well, good grief, America's not going to be shut down for 3 months.
Right.
You know what? People, we want to get together and have a good time. This virus thing is not going to be the end of America. So just like any other crisis this country's faced, we'll come rip-roaring back, and we're not going to lose. I'm not going to allow us to lose this momentum of going around the country and having parties for us like-minded people. And we're going to keep doing this. For people who ask, are we going to do this next year or the year after? And now I can say no, unless someone wants to take over the movement. But I'm only doing this for Donald Trump, Trump supporters that have been kicked in the teeth for the last 3.5 years. So for 2020, I'm all in.
Right. Take it right down to the 11-3 wire.
Doing it, that's cool with me. But I'm all in for 2020. I do have a business to run. I'm too young and have too young of kids to sell it like you did and get to enjoy some new opportunities. My business is still pretty young.
Right.
It's going on 3 years. So even my team that is in my office, even they've stepped up. They've really come through, and as they know how dedicated I am to 2020 and Trump's reelection. But I'm doing it my own way. I'm not affiliated with any campaign. I'm just choosing it to do it this way by showing folks a good time. By the way, we're gonna have some learning opportunities to get better, and it's gonna be the same thing in San Antonio. So just to recap, Las Vegas, we had a VIP meet and greet party. We had a couple surprises for folks. We did it on the top floor of the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. We had a massive turnout, and it was a tremendously successful event. There was absolutely no drama, no shenanigans. It was all fun,
safe,
positive vibes, safe, very safe.
If you saw the size of some of those security guys and bouncers, you'd know why.
Right?
That one guy at the door at Stoney's was a man mountain.
Yeah, right. But at Trump, we took security very seriously, as you know. It was in the forefront of us. We wanted to keep all of our guests safe. I'm really glad to say we did without incident. So the Trump Hotel, the staff there are they're just unbelievable. I mean, our guests were arriving at 5 a.m. the day of check-in, 5, 6, 7 a.m. And Trump Hotel, they waived every early check-in fee. They got people right to their rooms. Everybody was treated with utmost hospitality. That hotel was wonderful. They were wonderful to work with. Even with the dozens of cancellations that we had, they brought in additional staff just so we were switching rooms, changing names. It was a controlled mess that the Trump organization got us through, and it seemed like effortlessly on their part.
Yeah, they were really
I know
good.
I was driving them crazy because I was at their desk at least 50 times. But every issue we had, they solved it really fast. And
Well, I think on top of that,
every
interaction I had with any one of them, whether it was behind the bar, in the restaurant, at the front desk, in the gift shop, security, whatever it was, housekeeping, incredibly pleasant, a positive, get it done attitude. I was extremely impressed by that. And they seemed like they enjoyed their jobs. It wasn't like they were, let's face it, in this economy, they could go anywhere and get a job, especially in Las Vegas in the hospitality business.
That's right. And when I heard, I asked one of the staff, and I made it a point to thank everyone I came in contact with. Of course, thank them, and ask them a question or two. And one of the interesting things is, I believe I was told that the average tenure of the staff there is 7 years.
That's huge.
That's unheard of in that industry.
That would be huge anywhere in the country, but in Las Vegas, that's huge.
Right. That's just. I mean, it's just awesome when you think about it. And so then we did. So that was Thursday night. Friday we did a meet and greet, book signing throughout the day, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. That was tremendously successful. We opened that up to the public. Actually, we did that as a benefit to the authors, so they could interact with more people. So we did that again on the top floor of the Trump. We had to bring in a lot more refreshments, stuff like that, because again, the attendance is stronger than what we anticipated, which is definitely a good thing. And while the book signing was going on, we also hosted a lunch with the Deplorable Choir. So we called it a lunch with the stars, and it was with the Deplorable Choir, and then Juanita Broderick crashed it halfway through, and everybody that was at that lunch just had a terrific time. And halfway through the lunch, that's when Juanita Broderick got a call from Laura Ingraham show saying that
she had to be on that night, right?
They had to be on that night, so of course we had to adjust our schedule. Of course, we were happy to do it for Juanita, and so then we got to rest for about 10 minutes, and then we started over to Stoney's Rockin' Country, and that venue. Not only did they keep us safe, they kept us happy. They brought in tons of staff, tons of security, all very polite, well organized. I can tell you the only disorganization from anything at Stoney's was mine, and because I was the MC for the first half of it, and I've never MC'd before. So, and this event was for the people, by just average people. So I'm okay with that.
Right. There was no so that is a good point. There was no paid or formal event organizer. This was all done by amateurs, primarily by you and your two lovely assistants or co-organizers, Rachel and Lana.
Yeah. So then we did have Wayne Allen Rutt, who was a conservative superstar that joined. He took over the MC duty.
Yeah, it was good to meet him. I had been on a radio spot with him, but it was good to meet him face to face.
And he did not charge us a dime to be there.
It's amazing. It's fabulous.
Yeah, just a great guy. And so people were wondering, well, how come he's late? But no, he wasn't late. That was the intent the whole time. I wanted amateurs. I wanted David the Gay Republican to have his first ever public speaking event. I wanted that to happen.
He did a great job, by the way. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that was his first public speaking event.
Yeah, he was so nervous, and he did a great job. And that was some people said, well, he had too many speakers. I agree with that. We had too many speakers. But my thing was the whole time, I am not bumping somebody because someone cooler comes along.
Right.
And so the people that were promised speaking spots, that
early on,
the Gay Republican did come in a little later. There was just something about his eagerness for the movement that kind of struck us all time, and he proved us right by doing such a great job. But when some of the bigger known names asked to be, part of it, I made a decision. Well, these are the people. People do want to meet these folks as well. So I invited them. So yeah, we got a little long in the tooth with our speaking, but I think overall, just with all those speakers. So here's the thing too. I don't mean to get sidetracked, but everybody that participated in this event, whether it was Terrence Williams, the Deplorable Choir, Juanita Broderick, Janie Johnson, you, Nick Harris, everybody had to agree to be there the whole weekend. Well, of course, my really good friend Mindy Robinson, who's running for Congress in Nevada.
Right.
She was just phenomenal the whole time, for months and months, just helping out greatly. They were all there the whole weekend. So even during the speeches and whatever else, the guest speakers, the celebrities were all mingling with the crowd. And I think that's pretty unheard of in these types of events. Usually you have to go to a secret room, and you get to a handful of people get to actually sit down with them. But Terrence Williams, what a gentleman he was! He stayed the whole night for a VIP meet and greet. He didn't leave till the last person wanted to say hi to do their picture took. And then there was the same thing at the main event when he was just mixing, mingling, and same with all the Deplorable girls. CJ was yelling at me a lot because people were giving too long of speeches. But overall, so we had a great event. It was absolutely safe. People had fun. No security incidences, no troublemakers, no protesting. It was just a fun, positive experience, exactly what we wanted. And then the next day, Saturday, we were back at the Trump Hotel. We had our social media summit, which I think is becoming kind of a funny story. All of our social media superstars may have overindulged, partied a little too much because of the success we had, and overslept when they were supposed to come give us some training on the social media. So instead, what we had is Janie Johnson, the author of Don't Take My Lemonade Stand, and now her new book, Think America Great. Gene Ho, Trump's photographer from 2016, and Juanita Broderick. They took over the forum, and they did question and answers on how they all personally grew their accounts and how they stay engaged. And then that gave us an awesome opportunity to transition that into the social media summit. And again, we had more people than what we anticipated, but we were ready for it. So we had already brought in more donuts and more coffee, and we had table set up so people that didn't get a book, they could have got their book signed then. And then we gave our farewell speeches, and we found out people wanted to linger, so we fired up the Trump train bus, and we took a little more than a dozen people out to lunch, and just had a great time. And then Saturday night, just a select few were left, and we just all went to dinner and got to relax a little bit. I finally got to let my hair down and have a few cocktails and talk about the event. So that was it. So we want to recreate this for San Antonio. There's certain things that are just gonna be hard to recreate. We know that. We're gonna do our best to make it the same experience, but with just new folks, new entertainers. We'll clean up some of the issues that we learned along the way.
Plenty of lessons learned. Plenty of lessons learned.
Yeah, a lesson learned. But the gist of it is we're not going to lose focus on why we're doing this and who we're doing it for. So you can expect the same red carpet treatment from everybody that volunteers, because none of us were paid. It was all volunteers. You're going to see the folks that come to our party are going to expect to be treated like they're Donald Trump themselves. We'll do everything we can to accommodate, and most importantly, we're going to have a great time and learn a few things.
Cool.
And it's going to be in San Antonio, June 12th to the 14th. I think it's prudent that we don't release the venue at this point.
Right.
But we will be. We don't want to cause anybody any unnecessary whatever. But we have a great venue lined up, and just like Las Vegas, we'll be releasing things in the weeks and months ahead, and you won't be disappointed if you get your tickets.
Cool. So we're at about 35 minutes here, and we probably got to wrap this up so it's not too long. But I think that gives everybody a good idea of what to expect. I'm going to try to get some guests on here who were at Deplorapalooza that were attendees, weren't part of the organizing group, to talk about their experience. So if anybody sees this and was there and would like to do that with me, just at MPUKITA, that like has been flashing up on the screen while we've been doing this. You can direct message me, however you want to get a hold of me, and be glad to have you on and just have you explain what your experience was at Deplorapalooza. So thanks for that. Charlie, thanks for that. Any last words you want to say right now?
No, well, thank you for everything. And then anyone that's not following me, you can follow me at Charlie Bebus or just search America's Favorite Uncle Charlie.
Yeah, I'll put that up. I'll make sure it's on the video as well.
Follow me on Twitter, and I follow back.
Yeah, we both do. We both do.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Charlie. Great to talk to you. See you.